Good afternoon, everyone. We welcome all the viewers and listeners of this YouTube channel to the last and final session of day 5 uh, on Industry 4.0 and artificial intelligence and related technology. We have amongst us Dr. C.S. Azad, who is currently the National General Secretary of SEAM, and he has a vast experience he has been a solar inspector as well. And other introduction would be given by Dr. Imranullah Khan, sir. So I give the stage to Dr. Imran.
Thank you, Piyush sir. And today with us, Dr. Chandrasekhar Azad sir, uh, very respectable to me. He is always cooperative with me in IEEE conference also. Sir is there. Sir, biodata is too long, so I will pick out very specific point. Sir is ex-Government of India PNT Building Works Electrical Service Officer, Chartered Engineer, Government of India Certified Energy Auditor, National General Secretary of SEAM. SEAM basically a government organization of Society Energy Engineers and Managers, Certified Solar Inspector and Trainer, accredited management teacher, adjunct guest faculty in UPES and AIMA, and a lot of things I want to share about sir, but time is not permitting me. And the topic of the sir is Industry 4, IoT and Energy Management. So I request sir and also welcome sir. Uh, he spare his time from his busy schedule. Sir, now stage is yours. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Piyush ji. Yeah, thank you, Imran sir.
Thank you, sir.
I think I am audible.
Yes, sir. You
Yes,
are
sir, you
audible.
are audible, sir. You can share your
Okay,
screen, sir, your
okay.
presentation.
Yeah. First of all, good afternoon to all your participants. And here in your India, this is around 3:30. But I think participants from all over the globe are here. So, so that I should say this is your greetings of the day, not good afternoon. Okay, now
Yes,
with your kind permission, I want to share my screen.
yes, sir, sure, sir.
This topic of the day is Industry 4.0, IoT and energy management. And as the topic is too long and time is too short, that's why we we will discuss some of the key points of all the topics Industry 4.0 and how this IoT can help in energy management. First of all, the Industry 4.0, let us have a look on these industrial revolutions. This first industrial revolution that took place in 1784 in 18th century, and at that time, as we all are aware that mechanization, steam power, and handlooms was replaced by the power looms, and that was the time when India was its superpower or India was a trade power. Handloom from India was being exported or by being traded through our traders all over the globe. But that industry revolution one somehow changed the whole scenario. Power looms started in Manchester and the other towns, and this colonization and other stories that started with that industrial revolution, that all we are aware. Then next, industry 2.0 started when the concept, with the advent of electrical energy and this mass production concept, the automobile industry and other this industry mass production started, and this continued up to 1969. And in 1969, industry 3.0, that automation, computers, electronics take over from the conventional manufacturing. And during our generation time, that was industry 3.0, when we were having some computers, some kind of electronics, circuits, and computers. But of late, things started to change, and this industry 4.0 started. And today, we are in the era of industry 4.0, and this era is known by Internet of the Things, data, cyber physical system. These are the things we will discuss in detail. If in brief or nutshell, we define this industry 4.0, this is the merger of advanced manufacturing techniques and Internet of Things. And it has made possible to gather and analyze data across machines and business systems, enables faster, more flexible, and more efficient, higher quality production of individualized goods at reduced cost. Now, let us have a look on the 5 key industry technology that are the technologies behind this industry 4.0. First is the big data. Second is a smart factory. Third is the cyber physical system. Then Internet of Things. And fifth and most important is interoperability. Now, what is this big data? This pandemic and work from home has introduced us with the necessity of data, and during last 3 or 4 months, we are finding lot of use of data. If I use the words of Mukesh Ambani ji, data is next generation's petrol. And these words, we are observing that these words are very much true, especially in nowadays circumstances. So this big data, but when we are discussing this industry 4.0, this data is generated by all of the machines, all of the humans, all of the sensors, all of the connected objects. And this analysis of this data gives us key insight to improve our processes or to design the new processes. Still, there is a limitation. We are able to analyze only fraction of data, only 1% of all available data. But this artificial intelligence, big data analysis that has opened a new kind of revolution in our lives. You might have observed that when you are just searching your something on Google, or you are ordering your something through e-commerce, the same day or day after, you are getting so many this the SMS or advertisement or just similar items, because somebody as a backend is analyzing data that data of e-commerce, that data of your transactions. Similarly, when we have a number of industries and number of the industrial setups, if we can provide some kind of the system to generate data by the machine, then, or we can have some kind of sensing system, then sitting at a centralized place, we can know the operability, health, and the other issues related with the machine. So this big data analysis is one of the key elements of this Industry 4.0. Here you can see this, how this data is increasing in exponential way. In 2007, in 1997, that was only just 60 petabyte, and it increased to just 54 exabyte in 2007, and this 2017 is 1.1 gigabyte, and 2022 it is expected to reach 4.2 gigabyte, and this gigabyte is equivalent to 10 to the power 24 bytes. So this is the rate of your doubling, your tripling, and exponential growth of data. The other key element is a smart factory. The conventional concept of factory that we are familiar with, there are some machines, there are some laborers working, some supervisor is there, some manager is there, some raw material is there, some inventory is there, some finished goods is being produced there, and that your factory has some the design part or some kind of this your engineer who is designing your that the product for the industry or for the factory. So that whole concept has changed with this smart factory concept. And this smart factory the concept is with integrated automation and cloud innovation. Now, product is being designed in US or in some other country. The manufacturing hub is in China or in India, and the robotic process automation and other things, they have changed the whole sphere. Now factory is no more a factory. Factory is interconnected with various kind of global systems. It is connected with other factories. It is connected with our R&D office, and whole this mechanism is being operated through internet or Internet of Things. And this factory energy management system, factory environment monitoring, these are possible from a centralized place. There is no need to go to actual factory site. At sitting a centralized place, the person जो responsible can know how much energy consumption is taking place by a particular machine, what is the illumination level inside the factory, what are the environment conditions, how much is the CO2 level, how much is the oxygen level in the factory. So that all kind of these things can be observed just sitting at a centralized place. On the same time, this machine monitoring and the predictive maintenance, that's also possible with the help of this Industry 4.0 or the Internet of Things. Now, these things, this smart factory and this big data, these are the things we are very much familiar with, or we are hearing these terms off and on. So many times we have heard these kind of things, smart factories, big data, data analysis. But this cyber physical system, what are these systems? Because these are the backbones of your Industry 4.0. So these cyber physical system are interacting with digital, analog, physical, and human components engineered for function through integrated physics and logic. So this is the typical definition. Okay, let me explain it in simple way. These are the monitored or controlled by your algorithm software integrated with users via the internet, physical and software components, and interacting in ways that can change the context of whole system. Okay, now this your IoT device or your smart grid or your aircraft control, computerized vehicles, they are the best example of these cyber physical systems. Okay, because if you look at these aircraft control or this IoT device, there are some algorithms, some software is there, some physical and software component is there, and linkage is via the internet. Similarly, that we take the concept of this smart cities. Smart city comprises so many smart buildings, smart transportation, and whole this galaxy of smart system. So that smart system, they can just communicate with each other as well as some central command through internet. They can be controlled because some algorithm is there to control them. So this cyber physical system, on the one hand, that can be controlled. On the other hand, that can be this interact with the other components of this whole system, the machine learning of your kind of thing. Okay, so this basically you have to understand that we can't imagine this industrial revolution without this cyber physical system. These are the key elements of on the one hand, this internet as well as the cyber physical system are the key elements of this industrial revolution. So if you look at this slide, this cyber physical system that have some kind of sensors, and the information from these sensors are collected to the network, and through the internet, these informations are transmitted at some decision making center. Then on the other hand, from a command system or a control system, the control center, through the network, this some the control command can be passed on to actuators, and these actuators can control these embedded and physical systems. So this is closed loop. Okay. So this through sensors we are observing the current state. Then through this actuators we are just controlling as per our requirement. Now, the other key technology behind this industrial revolution is Internet of Things. And this is the term you might have heard so many times. Day and night, you are hearing this term, Internet of Things or IoT. And this IoT is generally treated as a panacea or as a magic word for all kind of computers connectivity or all your kind of this modern your computer revolution. So this IEEE defined this IoT as a network that connects uniquely identifiable things to the internet. And the things now they are talking about the network of identifiable things, and these things are sensing, actuation, and potential programmability capabilities. Okay, so now these things are nothing but a physical object, and that the physical object may be your air conditioner at home or at your office, your refrigerators at your home, your car, or a physical object may be your machinery in the industry. Okay, so that, and these physical objects and their sensing actuation part are being connected together by this IoT. Okay, this you referred to this previous slide. In this cyber physical system, what is happening? These are the sensors that are providing the detail about the current state, and these are the actuators that we are using for controlling these physical systems. So this whole network is known as a Internet of Things. And this uniquely identifiable means assignment of a unique address. That means all the things are node on the internet and they have one IP address. They can send the data and they can receive the data from the other objects of the internet. So with this iteration of the internet, where information and data are no longer predominantly generated and processed by humans, because here all the machines are connected together by the network, the Internet of Things. Then there is no need of human for data analysis. And these smart जो objects or this जो things जो when they are having some IP address or this sensing and actuation part, embedded sensors and the miniaturized the computers, then they are able to sense their environment, process data, and engage in machine-to-machine communication. So this Internet of Things has reduced the requirement of the human. Now, machines can communicate with together, M to M. Machines can transfer the data, machines can receive the data, and they can analyze the data. So that up to now, we were using the internet through mobile device, our cell phone, our laptop, our PC, or our smart TV, set-top box. These are the basic things through which we are accessing the net, or we are using this network connected devices. That maybe your this your machines also, machines of the industry. But this IoT means whole this your lights will be smart, your devices at the home will be smart, your appliances, your washing machine, your refrigerator, that will be smart, that will have some kind of actuator, that will have some kind of sensor. The smart street lighting, that can be controlled from a place, that can be dimmed, that can be intensity, can be increased or dimmed as per the requirement. Smart roads, smart transportation. So that any physical object, as we have discussed, that they have sensing, actuation, and some processing capability, then it becomes smart, or it can be called a IoT device. So that if we have a look on this IoT ecosystem, this IoT devices may be in so many areas, like in your energy, this is your smart lighting or smart street lighting. We have seen some smart devices may be there. In case of health also, your actual health condition can be transmitted through IoT devices to your doctor or to a medical center, and that can observe your condition and can provide medical advice. So this in health also IoT uses there. In the public sphere, smart city we were discussing, transport, traffic control, these all things can be connected. They may have IoT devices, and through some network, through some protocols, these networks may be Wi-Fi, LTE, that depends on your distance, your data requirement. Networks are decided on the basis of your data, as well as the distance up to which this data is to be transmitted. Then there are various protocols, platforms, and this data analysis, and whole these things make the IoT ecosystem. And these are the communication technologies for IoT applications, as we were discussing. This may be Ethernet, your Wi-Fi, 4G, 3G, GPRS, and this the typical your range depends on this. This is the distance, as well as this is your data, gigabit per second, megabit per second. So this depends on the two things you decide which technology is to be used. First, this range, and another is data rate, bytes per second. Now, as we are discussing this, all the technologies, one more key element is there, that is interoperability. And this interoperability is quite important, because when we are using this IoT or smart devices, one manufacturer cannot manufacture all kind of hardware. Okay, so that various manufacturers are to be involved for these hardware, and the specifications should be same, or there should be interoperability. Otherwise, that hardware or that kind of systems will not integrate well or easily. That kind of problems we have observed in smart grid projects and the other projects, that when we change a manufacturer or we change a vendor, we find problems in integration in the various part of the project. So this interoperability is also required, so that the end user may use this with the standard specification and technology, and there should not be any hindrance in the connectivity. Okay. So this the interoperability is quite important thing. Otherwise, what happens if you change the vendor or if you change the technology, then you will not be able to connect. You will not be able to get this kind of this IoT functions, or you will not be able to join your that kind of advantage. For example, if you look at your talks of your today, when we are banning more and more Chinese companies, and previously we have found that most of the ICT, this infrastructure and hardware have been supplied by Chinese companies to India. If this interoperability is not present, then we will find problem when we use some European or some American companies now, and these Chinese companies will become mandatory for us. So this interoperability reduces the over dependence on one technology as well as on single vendor. Now we are moving towards the other part of our discussion, that is IoT and energy management. How both are connected? So at present, as most of the energy system are large and centralized due to economies of scale, benefits of funding, and controlling large projects. What is happening here right now? We are having large thermal power plant, we are having some nuclear power station, we are having some hydroelectric power stations, and from that we are transmitting power, then we are reducing the voltage and we are distributing it to homes or the industry. But in the future, that IoT revolution will open up the possibility of smart, renewable microgrid with real-time demand-side management and demand response, the response that provides a cost-effective option to large centralized grid. So that future grid will be combination of these microgrids. So suppose you have the rooftop solar on your building, or some windmill is there, for example in Tamil Nadu or the other places where there's the wind velocity is quite high and you can have the windmill. Then these microgrids, your solar plant, that windmill, suppose some villages have biogas plant, all these microgrids can be connected, and that can be an alternative to nowadays system, that is centralized grid. You will not need this kind of the system when you are having so much efficiency loss that the electricity is being generated at centralized place, it is transmitted, it is distributed, and as far as India is concerned, some 20 to 25% losses are there in this transmission and distribution. That means out of 4 units generated, 1 unit is lost in transmission and distribution only. At some places it may be more also, but in future focus will be on these smart and microgrids that can be connected together, and IoT will be one of the technology that will help in this the microgrids, the interconnection and demand side management. So there are a number of significant opportunities for integrating IoT and energy management. Now, for example, there is some energy intensive furnace or energy intensive motor in your industry. With the help of your IoT, the operating parameters can be observed, data can be analyzed. Then for minimizing the energy use, some standard operating parameters can be set, and these operating parameters can be implemented with the help of IoT. Similarly, in most of the places we have time of day tariff. Time of day tariff means we have reduced tariff for use of electricity when there is lack of demand, especially during the night hours. So with the help of IoT, we can schedule the industrial process like that. They can use the time of day tariff to minimize their energy expenditure. So there are a number of areas where this IoT can help. Some areas I have already discussed, that smart lighting, where we can control this illumination level, we can just dim the lights. In case of street lights, just suppose number of vehicles are very much less in night, then we can just switch off some of the lights, we can dim some of the lights, and we can save a lot of your energy with that kind of innovations and control. Now, on paper, it looks very much attractive that IoT will come and IoT will solve all our problems, and IoT will reduce the energy consumption. Your IoT will guide the industry to use the energy effectively, or it will reduce the energy expenditure of the industry. But there is some problems related with this IoT also, because these IoT devices, they have actuators, they have sensors, and for their operation they need some kind of energy. If you make all the physical components, your fridge or your this washing machine, your air conditioner, your machines of the industry as a smart, your cyber physical component or your cyber physical system, or the smart thing, then they will also need the energy for their sensors and actuators. So these sensors, actuators, gateways, the communication module, network, the subcomponents of IoT solutions, they need energy, and this energy is for 24/7 hours, because you need the data around the clock. Whether this equipment is working or not, you need the data, or for most of the time you need that sensor or actuator to send the data or to control that device. So this as your fast rise of such items raise concern regarding excess power consumption. That means you're using this smartphone, you're using laptop, and lot of data you are using for that. When you are doing, you are sending any message through your laptop or your WhatsApp through your cell phone, on the back end, some the communication network is working, some data center is working for that message. So as this data requirements and millions of gigabytes of data transmission is going to increase, data analysis requirements is increasing, then this energy requirements are going to increase. Okay, so at the one end, we want to control the energy consumption, but on the other end, these devices which we are using to this for IoT, they use their own energy. That's why because most of us do not understand the linkage between this energy, data uses, and finally all these energy consumption results in carbon emission. And at present, this carbon emission of ICT industry, the information, the communication, the technology industry it is somewhat nearer to your aviation industry. That is 2% of global, your total, your global, your carbon emission. That means more and more use of these kind of smart devices will put more your burden on the environment. How to tackle this problem, or how to take care of this problem? Here you can see this, due to this standby energy consumption of IoT applications, it is expected that by 2025, the standby energy consumption will be somewhat 46 tetrawatt hour. Okay, and this much of energy can feed some small countries for a year. Okay, now simply you take your day-to-day your routine example. When you charge your cell phone and you forget to just switch off the switch of charger after charging, then what happens? Your charger gets heated. What is happening? Because cell phone does not need or this cell in the cell phone does not need the electricity, then this electricity is being wasted by your charger in heat, in form of heat. Now, this is the case of one charger only. That's your cell phone, your charger. Now, if you can imagine your number of devices, such chargers or such devices, this smart devices that are connected to the energy, and they are emitting heat or your radiation, or they are taking some your energy, so that energy requirement will be huge, and that will have the burden on the environment. So now, due to this huge energy requirement aspect of IoT, there is talk of green IoT. And this green IoT, lot of work is going on green IoT in various R&D labs in various universities. So this is the current topic of research, when many researchers as well as industry personnel are working day and night on these aspects. This green IoT is entire life cycle of green IoT should focus on green design, green production, green utilization, and finally green disposal recycling to have number of small impact on the environment. This is the basic definition, but this green IoT encompasses smart policies, smart metering, smart this energy awareness, and smart sensors. And the components of green IoT are your RFID tags size is to be reduced. Then this wireless sensor network, the work is going on to optimize the energy consumption of this wireless sensor network. In cloud जो computing also, जो energy efficient hardware and software are being designed. Power saving with जो virtual जो machines जो techniques are being designed. This green जो machine to machine जो transmission जो power, and data centers are major place where power consumption takes place. Then strategies for the optimization of energy consumption in data centers are hot topics of research nowadays. They have some kind of your sleeping your mechanism for when load is not so much. Then you're minimizing the length of that data path. These are the technologies. If we are going to cover that, it requires itself 1, 2, 3 hours lectures on green data centers. But briefly, these are the techniques that on which your research are being conducted, and the students who are hearing this lecture, they will find it very, very useful, because these are the things for the future. Green IoT or Industry 4.0 IoT. So the implementation of green IoT has so many challenges. Ongoing your work is there. Developing of intelligent, less complex and energy efficient IoT infrastructure is a challenge. Then the standardization of the energy consumption models suitable for green IoT, the resource efficient protocols. On these things, work is going on in premier engineering institutes as well as in the industry. Okay, because time is short, and we have to take up some questions also. Let us have a recap of the discussion. Today we have discussed about Industry 4.0 and key technologies of supporting this industry, the revolution: big data, smart factories, cyber physical systems, Internet of Things, and application of Internet of Things in energy management. Then the interoperability requirement. We discussed impacts and challenges posed by the IoT devices and its application on the energy resources. We discussed a little about green IoT and development of energy efficient IoT devices and current key challenges to green IoT. I think that's enough for today. And now I request
Thank you,
Piyush
sir.
Saab
Thank you
and
for
Imran Saab to take the questions from the
Thank you,
participants.
sir, for an informative session. We'll quickly take up some questions from the participants. So there's one this from Mohammad Atif on your screen, sir. So can you see, sir, on your screen? You can close this. Can you see now?
No, I am not able to see. Oh, okay, this. How can we implement IoT in healthcare monitoring system? Yeah, it's a very good question, Mohammad Atif. Sorry. Yeah, actually, this healthcare जो monitoring जो system, especially in the countries like India, and we are just seeing your scarcity of doctors and medical your services in present time. If we have that kind of the system right now, it can be very much helpful. For example, if I have some IoT enabled device, some the blood pressure measuring machine, or some device that can measure my pulse rate and transmit to my doctor, or some key parameters that can transmit to any medical center or my family physician, so that online he can monitor my condition and can prescribe the things. So that especially in such a pandemic time where the physical movement is not possible, your due to your lockdown and your other your restrictions, there are the problem, that IoT kind of system can be very much helpful. And especially in your future also in the countries like India, that will be quite helpful, because you have found that some of our villages are too far from the town headquarters, and people are coming to visit the doctors in towns. They are traveling some 30 or 40 kilometers for simple medications, some fevers or some simple medications. If this IoT based healthcare is there, then the doctor just sitting at the metro like Lucknow or some good places, they can watch, they can monitor the condition of the patient, and they can prescribe the medication. There is no need of the physical movement. I think I am able to explain this IoT in healthcare monitoring system, because that is quite useful thing for future.
So we have another question from one of the participants. On your screen, sir.
Good. This actually, whoever has asked this, he has asked a very much a relevant question. Whenever you are using any kind of data, okay, there is chances are always there that data can be misused. I have given you the example of your e-commerce transactions. You are ordering something on the net, or after some time you are getting your similar advertisement based on your transaction, so that somebody is watching your transaction. So these dangers are always there. Whenever data is concerned, data security is the utmost priority, and unfortunately, especially in the countries like India, we don't have some proper laws for this data privacy. So be careful. For example, you take the example of the smart meters. Smart meters have been installed at the premises of some consumers. Okay, and that smart meters record all your variation of the energy. Okay, now suppose this smart meter is telling that after 12 or after 11:30 p.m. there is no use of your energy in that household, or some minimum 5 watt or 10 watt just the consumption of the energy in that household. What does it mean? It is providing an indication to some thieves that people are asleep in that particular house. People are sleeping at 11:30, and after 11 जो 30 they are not using the light. Okay, similarly when you are not at home and no energy consumption is being recorded, or the minimum energy consumption is being recorded, if any person is monitoring your this data from the smart meter, he can know that there is nobody at home, or only one room is working, or only one or two equipments are working at home. So that kind of data theft, or if your data goes to your wrong person, that kind of things maybe dangerous, because at present there are no such rules to prevent this. A very good question.
Yes. Thank you. So we have one last question to take up based on your relevant field, sir.
Okay, at present, how many grids are we are planning to be governed by IoT, and what are the technical challenges in implementing IoT in power grid? As far as your limit of the grids is concerned, there is no such limit. Okay, the only thing that we have discussed that you need the technologies, because that the communicating your technology depends on and this your data, as well as your distance. This we have covered, this your distance in kilometers. If you have the distance in kilometers, then you will need 5G or 4G. Okay, and how much your data you want to transfer from your microgrids to your central office, based on your technology is to be decided. So that the number is not a constraint. Based on your this data requirement and distance, you can select the technologies, and technical challenges are always there, because your technology is evolving. Okay, so that one of the key challenges is that because your technology is expensive, not many vendors are there. So that kind of challenges are there. Though your technology is tested, but these being expensive, as well as only single vendor or two vendors are available. These are the major challenges for this the microgrid or the mini grid, the connection to internet. But in the future, I think this will change, and number of grids will be interconnected. Number of your microgrids will be interconnected, and this whole concept of power system, what have been taught till today, it will change. The electrical engineering, as you know, that has been changed. Now in most of the universities, they are teaching this electrical and electronics communication, or electrical and electronics engineering. Okay, in the future you will find that all the concept of the grid, electricity grid, and these things will change with the advent of more and more this kind of microgrids and your DC technologies. Any more questions, sir?
No, sir. We'll end up here, sir. And thank you for taking up so much time and answering questions of our viewers. I thank Dr. C.S. Azad from my side for giving his valuable time. Now I request Dr. Imranullah Khan, sir, to extend the vote of thanks to Dr. C.S. Azad.
Thank
Sir.
you, Piyush sir. Thanks a lot, Azhar sir. You have spare 1 hour from your very busy schedule. We are very thankful to you. Always, you help us whenever we conduct any uh, conference, or your presence will benefited us. We are very thankful to you, and I thank from Hassan Sai sir, Professor Hassan Sai sir, also asked to thank you, say thank you to you, and sir, we are always thankful to you. And sir, if some participants want, sir, your mail ID, can we share it?
Yeah, your mail ID is there, and at the last slide.
Okay, 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 sir. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
mail ID is
Thanks,
there.
thanks a lot.
Thank you, Khan Sahab, and
Thank you.
Piyush ji, and Dr. Saeed for giving me your opportunity to share my thoughts, because this topic is quite a favorite topic because this is the latest things that is happening in
Yes.
this your management area as well as in the electrical your area. This is one of my your favorite topic, and with your your students and participants, number of your our team members, and this energy auditors, energy managers, they have joined this session, and this session is quite useful for them also. So I am very thankful to Integral University for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts and to spread the knowledge on this Industry 4.0 and IoT and energy management. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
sir. Thank you.
You will give me
Sir.
opportunity in future also. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sure,
you're
sir.
sure, sir. Sure, sir.
You're most welcome,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, sir. Bye-bye, sir.
Thank you all the participants for patience listening.